big dream, spark the fire within. Building business brick by brick to win. Every setback, every climb, shape our hustle, strength and time. Chasing growth and nothing less. This is the journey from scratch to success.
Hello everyone, welcome to From Scratch to Success, where we interview the most successful entrepreneurs about their journey. I'm your host, Jayma, and today my hair is done by Lauren On. I've got a very truly inspirational guest here with me today, all the way from New York. Coach Jim Johnson, a basketball coach who has developed winning basketball teams for 30 years with 428 wins, known for a life-changing moment that put courage and leadership on global display. When he gave autistic student manager Jason McIrwin, aka J-Mac, a chance leading to a Hollywood-worthy 20-point performance. It sparked a wave of inspiration, still touching countless lives today. Coach Jim speaks of the importance of teamwork, sportsmanship, and his story embodies the power of true leadership and inspires many globally. I am so blessed to have you here with me today, Coach Jim.
Well, thank you, Jamie. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Now, so tell me, how did it all begin? What is the origin story?
Well, I really got into basketball because my father, that was my hero, ended up being a teacher, and he was a high school basketball coach at the high school I was going to. So I ended up playing basketball for my father, and I got into it very much. I wanted to be a professional basketball player, but unfortunately my talents didn't lead me to that. But so I followed my father's footsteps and became a teacher and a high school basketball coach, and did it for 35 years and loved it. So.
Wow. So would you say that your father was someone that inspired you throughout that journey?
Absolutely. He was a great model for me, and he led by example. And I learned a lot from my father. So he was definitely inspired me to follow in his footsteps.
And now, what were some of the early challenges that you had?
Well, my dream once I got out of college was to be a teacher, and I wanted to be a varsity boys basketball coach. And my dream came true at a pretty young age. At 25 years old, I took over a program that wasn't very good, but it was about 20 minutes from where I grew up, and I was excited. And that was until, Jamie, I led that team to 17 consecutive losses. And we had a very humbling season. And unfortunately, they decided, the administration, to go in a different direction, and ended up letting me go. So it was a pretty humbling start to my career. Fortunately, I got a mentor. I worked for a junior college coach the next year. His name was Bill Van Gundy. And for your listeners that follow basketball, his two sons ended up being head coaches in the NBA. So
Wow.
Coach Van Gundy helped me get back on my feet. But I really wanted to be a varsity head coach in the high school level. And that's what I ended up doing for most of the rest of my career. I coached 29 years as a head coach at 3 different high schools, in the last 27 years in my hometown of Greece, which is the largest suburb of Rochester.
Wow. That's so, I mean, when you put it into words like that, it's just really inspirational, from the beginning until like now. You say 35 years in total that you've been a basketball coach.
Right.
Coach Jim, would you share like a crucial turning point in your journey with us?
Sure. So definitely the turning point was, I kind of got known after I started having more success as a coach. I had a lot of winning seasons, but I was kind of known as the coach that couldn't win in the big one. And what I mean by that is that when we got in the postseason, we called it our sectional tournament, we kept losing. Okay. And my turning point was, we had a young man come into our program. His name was Jason McIlwain, that you said in the intro, J-Mac, as everybody calls him.
Yes.
and not J Ma, but J Mac. And
Yeah, I should link him up too.
yeah, exactly. So, but J Mac was on the autism spectrum, and he just really touched my heart because he tried out for our team 3 consecutive years. I never had a player that didn't make the team keep trying like that. So I
Mhm.
really got attached to this young man because he came to everything for us and he was supporting our program. So his senior season, when he didn't make the team, I told him I wanted to give him a gift. And the gift was I wanted to give him a uniform for our final home game, which we call senior night. We honor the seniors before the game. And I
Mhm.
wanted to see Jason in uniform instead of his white shirt and black tie that he used to bring to every game as the manager. And
Mhm.
he was so excited about that. In fact, he would remind me about the uniform. In fact, I kid people that periodically he would ask me about the uniform, and I mean periodically for him means about every other day. He was
Yes.
really fired up. Well, interesting enough, we had a really good team that year, but we had a lot of internal strife, and the team was really struggling. But JMac was kind of our rock, and we finally got things turned around after our Christmas tournament. And we got some momentum going into senior night. And senior night was on February 15th that year. On February 13th, I gave Jason his first jersey, and he was excited. In fact, there was a rumor going around school that he slept in it for 2 straight nights. He was really
Oh,
pumped. It
wow.
was a really well, senior night for your listeners is where we honor our senior basketball players and cheerleaders before the game. We bring their parents and guardians out. But to see Jason embrace his parents in uniform was a memory I will always cherish. Well,
Mm.
Jason, now is senior night. I get everybody in the game but Jason. So I decide to put him in with just over 4 minutes to go. And the crowd explodes. In fact, what I didn't know, and this touched me deeply, is we had a really good student body following. They called themselves the Six Men, and they came in the Athena colors, black and gold. But when Jason entered the court for the first time, they gave him a standing ovation. But what Jason and I didn't know is one of our parents had made these placards, these pictures of Jason's face, and put them on paint sticks and gave them to the students. So when Jason entered the court for the first time, they showed those placards, and I got so overwhelmed with emotion, I sat down and tears started to flow down my face. I was profoundly touched. Jason's now in his first game. First time he touches the ball, he
Wow.
shoots a 3-pointer, and everybody stands in the crowd, and he misses by like 6 feet. It's not even close. So I kid people because in the public schools of the United States, you're not supposed to be able to pray, but I was praying, dear God, please help him get one basket. Next possession, he has a much shorter shot, and this time it hits the rim. So I'm like, all right, God started to listen. We're getting closer. At
Yes.
the third possession, he has another 3-pointer, and this time, J-Ma, he lets it go and it goes in and the place just explodes. I'm thinking to myself, God must be a basketball fan. Not only is Jason scored, he's got a 3-pointer. It can't get any better than this, right?
Wow.
Wrong. For the next 3 minutes, Jason turns into his idol. His idol was the late Kobe Bryant from the Lakers. And he
Mhm.
starts making shot after shot. And I got to fast forward, then I'll come back and finish the game. 6 months after the game, Jason's at the ESPN, what they call the ESPY Awards. He's up for the greatest sports moment of the year. And I kid you not, one of the other finalists, there were 4 finalists for the award, was Kobe Bryant. Kobe had scored 81 points for the Lakers in a game that year. So Kobe and Jason met each other, and Jason beat him out the ESPY. Well, how did he do that? Well, after making that first 3, he made another 3. Then he made another one, and then he missed a couple. And the 2 things I'll never forget, with about a minute to go, I'm sitting on the bench. I still have tears flowing down my face because I can't believe what I'm seeing. Jason's making all these baskets. And I get a tap on my shoulder, and I'm shocked. I look behind me, and it's J-Mac's mother. And she's bawling her eyes out, and she whispers in my ear, Coach, this is the best gift you could ever give in my son. Of course, I got so choked up, I cried harder. Then the game ends. Our opponent, Spencerport, and I want to give kudos to their coach and players. They were really good sports. They score, and our player takes it out of bounds, and normally he throws it to our point guard, but he throws it to J-Max. So J-Max dribbling down the court, and I thought they were going to let him go and make it like a real short layup and end the game. Oh no, Jason slows up and he shoots a 3 like 2 feet behind the arc, almost an NBA 3. And I'm thinking, Jason, don't shoot from there. You're going to ruin the moment. He launches this rainbow swish. I look over, and for your listeners, if you saw the movie Rudy, when they run on the stadium in the Notre Dame stadium, that's what it was like. Everybody in the gym ran on the floor, and our players put them up on their shoulders. And at that point, I had no idea how many points he has. And our public address announcer comes on and says, the leading scorer for Greece Athena tonight, J-Mac, with 20 points, including 6 3-pointers. And it was truly remarkable. And a couple things about that I think be neat lessons. Number one is I never asked the players on the court to pass Jason the ball, yet because of their love and what I call the essence of teamwork, they decided to pass Jason the ball every possession. In fact, I still kid Jason to this day. Jason, I'm still looking for your first assist. You didn't pass the ball once, but that's how much his teammates thought of him.
Yeah.
And then the crazy thing is, Jason's speech pathologist was at the game, and he's the one that called one of the local TV stations the next day. And when they showed it, within the next few days, we were getting media from all over the world. It was crazy. And then the final thing I'll say about that is, as I told you earlier, I was kind of known as the coach who couldn't win the big one. And one of Jason's big thing is he wanted to help us win that sectional title we have never won. And Jason had to go back as our team manager because he had to play in 6 regular season games to be able to qualify for the postseason. And yet he embraced that role. And in front of 10,000 people, we won our first championship that year. So it was really cool. And Jason ended up coming back and volunteering my program, and we ended up winning 5 more championships together. So he was certainly my good luck charm. So.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Coach Jim. It's truly so inspiring. When you're describing the moment, I can feel it. It's so beautiful. You mentioned how you pray to God, and He really works in such a mysterious ways. God is such a miracle God, and I just want to say that I can see how much love you have for those people, and that's why I think it has made you so successful. You truly, it's like I've interviewed so many people, and when I see their passion for what they do, that's what truly engages the viewers and truly inspires so many.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really blessed to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's an honor. I just want to sort of mention, how did it feel for you? Like I suppose that would be, would you consider that moment like your first success milestone moment, what you just described?
It was definitely for coaching the greatest moment I ever had, and I ended up coaching a number of championship teams. And I thought that would be the greatest thing. But the greatest thing was just seeing how that team came together and did something special for that young man. And that night will be the most cherished night I've ever had in coaching. I mean, other than some of the things in my family, because I love my family, but with my coaching, that was by far the greatest night that ever touched my heart and soul. And it's a memory I'm just very blessed to be part of.
Wonderful. I think sometimes people just need that chance. And you gave J-Mac a chance. And that moment, it will forever change his life.
Right.
And that's what's so special about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to ask you, what sort of strategies, along the way have you implied with the basketball teams and the stuff that you're doing now?
Well, the one thing that we spent a lot of time working on was trying to build a great team culture, and one of the things that why we kept Jason in our program is because when we were picking players, even though he didn't make the team, but we wanted to be part, is because he was so passionate about basketball. You already mentioned passion. We were looking for people that were passionate about the game of basketball. Secondly, we're looking for people we call we over me, the people that wanted to put their team first. And that's what Jason was so good at. And that, and he inspired a lot of other people on our team because he was willing to always put the team first. And I think that's what you're always trying to do, is building that culture. Can you bring a group of people that care about each other so that you can build on a common goal and try to work for it day in and day out and building that culture. And so that's one of the presentations I do is called Building Championship Team Culture. And we talk about different things that we did, starting with our clarity of our program mission. For example, our mission statement was to develop winners on and off the court. And as the leader, me, the coach, I was what we call the CRO. I was the chief reminding officer. I would consistently remind the players, what does it take to win on the court? Well, winning the game is part of it. It's also being a great teammate. It's also being the ability to overcome adversity. Then off the court, being the best student you could be, being a contributing member to our community. So those are the things we were trying to teach day in and day out to build that culture. So, because I think when you develop something, whether it's a business or in our case, it was a basketball team, is if you can make, I call it the 2 C's. And the 2 C's are caring and challenging. So it was not easy to be part of our program. We had high expectations, but also our young people knew that we cared deeply about them. And I think we can establish that you're going to have high expectations, but you're going to clearly care about your people. That's when it's a really good start to building a great team culture. And that's something, what I talk to businesses about in schools and all that in my presentations.
Wonderful. And throughout your journey, was there any lessons that you've learned the hard way, and how did you overcome it?
Well, yes, I would say the biggest thing, because, my major goal was trying to lead teams to championship. And then, I already told you my beginning humbling story where we only won 1 game and they decided to go in a different direction. But then going through that period of time where we lost 6 times in our postseason tournament in the semifinals, and some of them were excruciating losses. And I'll tell you a quick story. So,
Yes.
the last time we lost, the year before Jason's magical night, and then we win our first championship, we lost at the buzzer. And I was devastated. And I went home that night. I've been married with my wife for 43 years, and I just lost it in front of her. And she handled it, and then she was very wise. And she says, Jim, you always talk about your mission, and I never saw anything about your mission that you have to win a championship. Your mission is to try to help others make their dreams come true. So go back to work. And that was a great bit of wisdom. And I did that. And it was a great lesson for me that, if you keep working at it and keep doing the right things, that usually things will end up working out well for you. And fortunately, that was the case.
Wow, shout out to your wife.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. I think a lot of times people focus on just the end result, but they miss the journey. But, often the journey is the most beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. So, Coach Jim, what keeps you going and what keeps you motivated?
Well, one of the things I do a leadership talk, and the first thing I always talk to leaders about is the first person you got to lead, of course, is yourself, and we forget that. And so I talked to him about getting clarity. I know Simon Sinek made this very popular with the why, but before even that, the book that inspired me was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Covey. And he talked about having your own personal mission statement. And at that point in my life, I was in my late 20s. I had no clue what my mission was. And, the great quote by Mark Twain is the 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And then when I started to get clarity, my personal mission is to be an outstanding role model that makes a positive difference in the world by helping others make their dreams come true. So what I really I teach leaders some steps so they can discover their mission, because that's what gets me out of bed each day. Is I want to inspire people. I brand myself as an inspirational leader, and each day through all the different actions I do, whether it's my social media or writing my blog or doing a newsletter, my videos, my podcast, all those things are trying to gear is to help people and inspire them to make their dreams come true, like many of my dreams have come true.
That's so amazing. And Coach Jim, so what are your habits, to success?
Well, I've read a lot about habits, and I really try to teach people, and worked a lot with my players on habits. And one of the books I read, they talked about a keystone habit. And so my major keystone habit that really added, and then I'll go through a little bit about what I call my daily non-negotiables. So my keystone habit is exercise. I think, if you're going to be a leader, you need energy, and therefore I think you got to take care of yourself. So no matter how busy I was, I always at least block some time to exercise. And that really built me into doing a lot of things that I do now that I think are additional, that, I try to help people. For example, like, I'm a person of faith, so I pray every day. Another thing I do is I take 20 minutes every day to meditate and work on my breathing, that kind of thing. Another thing I do is I have a daily goals journal where I write out my daily goals, and then I have a scoreboard at the end of the night that I write out how I did in 6 categories that are very important to me. I rate myself 1 to 10. Another thing I do is I have a gratitude journal. So at the end of every night, I write at least 3 things I'm grateful for the day. So those are some of the things that I do, and I call those my daily non-negotiables. Those are things that I will try to incorporate. Some of them I like to do in the morning, some of them are more in the evening, but really trying to build some consistency. And one little tip I give people is that as you develop habits, one thing is really focus on trying to do one. Find a keystone habit, like I gave you an example of mine is exercise, and then really get into a routine where you do it. And if you miss a day, focus on, okay, I can never miss 2 days in a row. I got to get back on the horse and start that habit again. And if you keep that mindset, it's amazing how you can start adding really good habits to your life.
Yeah, wow, that's some great tips there. And now, Coach Jim, how do you deal with fear, criticism, and burnout?
So fear, I heard this acronym a long time ago, and I think there is definitely some truth. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay. So, one thing is we're all going to have fear, but the big thing is, you've seen this. I think there's a lot of truth is feel the fear and do it anyway. So I think really having clarity of going back to your mission, then having clarity by writing. When I talk about goals, I always say, when you think it, ink it, write it down. Like, I have an idea journal. So if I hear a good idea, I write it in my journal. I always write out my goals each day. I have a daily to-do list as well with what I call my MVPs, my most valuable priorities, that I'm trying to focus in on those each day. So when you have consistency, and then you can learn. And one of the things I teach people is that failure is an event, it's not in person. So, but learn from failure, and and when you can do that and keep moving forward. But the other thing I also teach people is you're going to have some success in your life, and learn from that so that you develop systems that are leading you to success. It doesn't mean it's going to lead to it every time, but you start to understand, what do you need to do to get success more often. And then when you have failure, and the other thing I think is, having that growth mindset, is you're always going to consistently try to find a better way to continue to tweak things, because things change so fast. As you see right now with AI, how much that's changed the world.
Yeah, wow. Some amazing, insight thoughts there. Now, this one is it's a big question. Coach Jim, what does success mean to you?
So success means to me is, number one is I want to try to reach my full potential, whatever, so that I'm trying to consistently get a little bit better each day. And then the ultimate of success is when I can grow myself so I can give and help others. And to me, that's what the essence of success is, when you can keep getting better yourself so you can help others.
That's amazing. Truly beautifully said.
Thank you.
Now, the next round, it's going to be a power round. So I'm going to ask you quick questions, and you're going to give me short 1-sentence answers. Are we ready, Jim?
We're ready. Let's go for it.
Wait, what do they do just before the game? What do they do? At basketball game, how do you get the players ready? Do you be like,
We usually, we'll give them a little talk, but then we always get together and we have some kind of like word or mantra. Like,
Uh-huh.
one year it might be team. So we'll say 1, 2, 3 team, and
Okay,
that's how we
all
start,
right.
right?
So let's go. 1, 2, 3, team.
Okay.
Question one: a business book or podcast that changed your thinking?
So I'll give you one of each. Because the business book I've already mentioned is Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Covey was the
Yeah.
most influential book. I've read well over 1,000 books. I will say John Maxwell. I've read a number of his leadership books, so I really like John a lot. In the podcast, I would say I listen. I'm a big podcast junkie, but I would say the one podcast, the number one for me right now, is the Ed Milet Show. Ed is uh, became a multimillionaire in the financial services, but I really admire Ed. He gives it back to people all the time, and he does a lot of interviews with, people that are highly successful in all facets of life. And so, I have a number of podcasts I listen to. I could go all day on that, but you asked for one, so I won't go any further.
Amazing. Best advice you've ever received?
Is to find a way to consistently lead and grow yourself.
If you were to lose everything, what would be the first thing you do?
First thing I would do is learn from my failures and my successes, and understand that I'm going to go back to work and build it back up.
What's one thing you wish you've done differently throughout your journey?
The one thing that I wish I did differently is I wish that I would have been more clear on getting really discovering my mission earlier in life. I think when I discovered that and really got clarity, that helped me become a much better person, both in my family and both in work as well. So I really encourage people to find that why.
Very good. One myth about entrepreneurship you like to burst?
Well, I think the one thing I'll say about entrepreneurship is, people talk about, you work for yourself, and that's true. But I think if you really, the myth is that you can't be a lone soldier. To be a successful entrepreneur, you got to find ways to build a team so that you can support and then start to scale your business. So it's a lonely business by yourself, and I think the other thing is that the other myth is they think that they're because they're controlling the work less. I can tell you, most entrepreneurs, especially when they start out, work a lot more.
Yes, definitely. So, what is next for you?
So right now, right now I'm on the journey of continuing to grow my speaking business, making an impact there. I want to continue to grow our podcast because I want to give back and help young and emerging leaders. I am doodling with one more book on leadership. Hopefully I'll get to that as well. And you know what? The last thing I'll say is I'm really more and more focused on trying to take good care of myself, because I want to live a long time so I can continue to try to make an impact and help others.
That's beautiful. Advice for listeners out there that's just starting out the business.
So understand, number one, of why you're doing it, and how you're helping and serving others, and then really getting clarity each day that you're going to strive to get a little bit better, because it's a growing process. And almost every great entrepreneur had struggle city where they really had a lot of difficult times. And that's why you've got to really understand, where you can combine as an entrepreneur your passion with your abilities. Okay. So for example, if I was passionate about singing, but I got to admit, Jayma, I'm a terrible singer. I'm not going to be able to support myself as a singer. So you gotta find things you love to do, but also how they uses some of your talents. So when you combine those two, then you got a really good chance of being a successful entrepreneur.
That's such a great advice. So, Coach Jim, how does viewers get contact with you?
Yeah, probably the best way. So I my website is coachjimjohnson.com. And on there we have a free newsletter, we have a free weekly blog. I'm on social media quite a bit. So, LinkedIn, I connect with a lot of people. We also, as I mentioned, we have a podcast called the Limitless Leadership Lounge. That we've been doing for over 4 years to help young and emerging leaders. So reach out. I have a team of people. I have a great lady that works with me, Kate. So if we can support you in some way, we'd love to do that.
Wow, amazing. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything that you like to say before we finish up, Coach Jim?
Yeah, I'm going to close because this is something I really, because we've had a lot of different challenges in life. And one of the things that I really want to encourage people is no matter how difficult things go, is remember we're all human beings, and let's remember to respect all people and try to help people more than, because we disagree with them, whether it's politics or, whatever it is, that we're still all human beings. Remember, when we get cut, we bleed, and let's look to respect and help each other as opposed to being, at each other.
Thank you so much, Coach Jim. Whenever I'm in New York, I am going to hit you up and catch up for
Awesome. I'd love to meet you in person, J-Man. It was a real pleasure to talk to you today.
Yes, thank you. So, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching From Scratch to Success. I hope you feel inspired. I certainly feel that warm and fuzzy and that encouragement from Coach Jim Johnson. Again, I'm your host, Jayma, and I will see you next time. God bless you.